We are currently in the period of the Omer, counting towards Shavuos, day in which we celebrate receiving the Torah. However, in the actual Pesukim, there's no connection explicitly between Shavuos, the 50th day after Pesach, and the giving of the Torah to Bnei Yisrael. Why? The Kliyaka in Vayikra Parak Kaf Gimel, which discusses the mitzvah of counting the Omer, explains that the giving of the Torah is not limited to just one day. Receiving the Torah is not a one-time event. The offering brought on Shavuos is called a Mincha Chadasha, a new offering, hinting to the fact that Torah should be new to us every single day. So whilst we are counting towards Shavuos, and it is the end goal, it's not the end of the process. Each and every single day, before Shavuos and after Shavuos, is a new opportunity to grow and reconnect.
Tonight we enter the second week of the Omer and count the 8th day. The number 8 has a spiritual and physical meaning. There are 8 days of Hanukkah, Brit Milah happens 8 days after birth, and there are 8 days of Pesach outside of Israel. The Maharal, in his book Sefirat Israel, talks about the philosophical and mystical meanings behind numbers in the Torah. While 7 represents the physical world, the number 8, following 7, represents the spiritual level beyond nature. For example, on the 8th day of a boy's life, he has a Brit Milah and becomes connected to Hashem spiritually. This week's Parsha Shemini, which has the same root as the number 8, is all about making a spiritual connection with Hashem through offerings in the Mishkan and the rules of Kashrut. This gives further evidence for the idea that 8 is a number that represents spirituality.
There is a discussion about how we count the Omer, when to say the brachot, etc. But what actually is the Omer? In the times of the Beit HaMikdash, the Omer was the barley sacrifice which took place the day after Pesach. Barley was to be collected, and then over the following 49 days it was milled and processed until the new sacrifice of the Shtei HaLechem, the 2 loaves of bread, 49 days later on Shavuot. Why then do we count the days it takes to process the barley until we have a Mincha Chadasha, the second grain sacrifice? The Sfas Emes says that Pesach is split into 2 words, peh, mouth, and sach, speak. And how do we best express ourselves? We measure and pronounce our intent to change with something most tangible, hence our nightly counting of the Omer. The Omer gives us an opportunity, much like the Jews after Yetziat Mitzrayim, to make ourselves count before we encounter God on Shavuot.
Hi everyone, this week's Parsha is Parshat Shmini. It has everything from the rules of kashrut to the laws of impurity. But I want to focus here on the beginning and the death of Nadav and Avihu after they offer a sacrifice in the Mishkan that they weren't meant to. I think it has a really important message about creativity. As we all know, Pesach is full of creativity. The Haggadah was created over the centuries by different people. We eat matzah, something mandated by the Torah, together with maror and charoseh, that have sort of developed by the rabbis. And this enthusiasm is an incredible thing. It's really at the centre of what it means to be a Jew or a bienik or a good person in general. But I think the lesson of this parsha is also about the importance of structure, not just in a divine context like here or in the Haftorah, but also in everyday life. The Omer is this beautiful structure that we count each day, but also allows us to sort of fill in the gaps with our own creativity.
Sefer HaChinuch, which was goes through all the 630 mitzvahs, talks about the mitzvah of HaOmer. When talking about this mitzvah, it says, outside of Pshat, just on a very simple level, the whole essence of the Jewish people comes about through the Torah. And that's why Hashem redeemed us from Mitzrayim, so that we should be able to receive the Torah. And many explain, and it's in the Sifri, explain that that's why Hashem put us in Mitzrayim in the first place, so that it would be part of a higher purpose, of a bigger mission, that we would become spiritually fit in order to receive the Torah. And I think it's very important that we live up to this expectation, that Hashem put us in, that Hashem redeemed us from Mitzrayim, so that we should receive the Torah. We should use this time from Pesach to Shavuos as a time of spiritual preparation and spiritual purification. That we should come to Har Sinai and we should accept the Torah willingly. And we should say Na'aseh v'nishma instead of the Torah being forced upon us.